Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Kathy. We are on part 17, I believe, with going through Ray Comfort's book, Scientific Facts in the Bible. So we will dive right in. So yesterday I skipped over the part about or maybe it was the day before when this comes out, the Dead Sea Scrolls section because it's pretty long. Okay. So we're in the chapter archaeology and the Bible. So things that have been found around the world and written about from way back, even up to today, that confirm things written about in the Bible. Okay, so this paragraph is called "The Dead Sea Scrolls Bear Out the Bible." And this is written by William F. Albright. It says, the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls, DSS, at Qumran in 1949 had significant effects in corroborating evidence for the scriptures. The ancient texts found hidden in pots in cliff-top caves by a monastic religious community confirm the reliability of the Old Testament texts. Okay, it says these texts, which were copied and studied by the Essenes, include one complete Old Testament book, Isaiah, and thousands of fragments representing every Old Testament book except Esther. The manuscripts date from the 3rd century BC to the 1st century AD and give the earliest window found so far into the texts of the Old Testament books and their predictive prophecies. The Qumran texts have become an important witness for the divine origin of the Bible, providing further evidence against the criticism of such crucial books as Daniel and Isaiah. Okay, so the next paragraph is dating the manuscripts, just to prove that they are as old as they thought they were. Carbon-14 dating is a reliable form of scientific dating when applied to uncontaminated material several thousand years old, results indicating an age of 1,917 years with a 200-year 10% variant. Paleography, which is ancient writing forms, and orthography, spelling, indicated that some manuscripts were inscribed before 100 BC. Albright set the date of the complete Isaiah scroll to around 100 BC. Quote, there can happily not be the slightest doubt in the world about the genuineness of the manuscript, end quote. Okay, and then archaeological dating. Corroborative evidence for an early date came from archaeology. Pottery accompanying the manuscripts was late Hellenistic, which is between 150 and 63 BC, and early Roman, which is from 63 BC to AD 100. Coins found in the monastery ruins proved by their inscriptions to have been minted between 135 BC and AD 135. The weave and pattern of the cloth supported an early date. There is no reasonable doubt that the Qumran manuscripts came from the century before Christ and the 1st century AD. Okay, the next part is significance of the dating. Previous to the Dead Sea Scrolls, the earliest known manuscript of the Old Testament was the Masoretic text, AD 900, and 2 others dating AD 1000, so way later than the Dead Sea Scrolls, from which, for example, the King James Version of the Old Testament derived its translation. Okay, I didn't know that. All right, so perhaps most would have considered the Masoretic texts as a very late text and therefore questioned the reliability of the Old Testament wholesale. The Dead Sea Scrolls eclipse these texts by 1,000 years and provide little reason to question their reliability, and further present only confidence for the text. The beauty of the Dead Sea Scrolls lies in the close match they have with the Masoretic text, demonstrable evidence of reliability and preservation of the authentic text through the centuries. So the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls provides evidence for the following: confirmation of the Hebrew text, support for the Masoretic text, and support for the Greek translation of the Hebrew text, which is called the Septuagint. Since the New Testament often quotes from the Greek Old Testament, the Dead Sea Scrolls furnish the reader with further confidence for the Masoretic texts in this area where it can be tested. And that is from an article from Norman Geisler called Dead Sea Scrolls from the Baker Encyclopedia of Christian Apologetics. So a whole article written on that. Okay, so next is just a short little paragraph. Archaeology's amazing findings. This is a quote by Dr. Nelson Gluick. Quote, "It may be stated categorically that no archaeological discovery has ever controverted a biblical reference. Scores of archaeological findings have been made which confirm in clear outline or exact detail historical statements in the Bible. And by the same token, proper elevation of biblical descriptions has often led to amazing discoveries." Okay, this next little paragraph. Archaeological data corroborates the Bible. Following the 1993 discovery in Israel of a stone containing the inscriptions House of David and King of Israel, Time magazine stated this writing, dated to the 9th century BC, only a century after David's reign, described a victory by a neighboring king over the Israelites. The skeptics' claim that David never existed is now hard to defend. Yes, because they found that, let's see, a stone. Yeah. Okay. So that's from Time magazine, December 18th, 1995. And then this next quote is from an article in Reader's Digest, June 2000. So, quote, "During the past 4 decades, spectacular discoveries have produced data corroborating the historical backdrop of the Gospels." All right, everyone, thank you for coming by, and I will see you in the next video, and God bless.